On September 23rd, Zach's legerdemain occurred. From the dead, he arose to eventually conquer the league, and a new goat was born.
Fire it up, boys! I chop down trees, baby! I chop down trees! That's the kind of stuff that they write movies and make books about, boys. That's what I'm talking about. Zach's Legendary. Oh my goodness. That's right, boys. They're going to write it down in the history books when they go back and look at it week 5, September 23rd. They're going to make movies about it, boys. It's the trade that saved my season and will ultimately, as we will come to see, make my team very legendary. But quickly, boys, we're going to recap the Week 4 matchups, see what the heck happened to some of these squads, and then we're going to look at Week 5, fire it up, chop down those trees, boys, get those axes out. We're chopping wood tonight, boys. Week 5 is here. But first, let's talk about Week 4, boys, some of these matchups. Let's start with Jed versus Gary. Now, Jed was looking real hot, and so was Gary going into this matchup, but it was Gary who pulled it out and ultimately crumbled Jed while doing it, okay? Now, we all know what happened in the old overseas Ireland game or wherever it was, I don't know, dude, but at the last second, Jaylen Warren, he's out. He's out. Jed's best running back is out. Plugs in Devin Singletary, gives him a solid 2.8 points, but that was all she wrote for Jed. And that might have been all she wrote for a season, because then later on, Tyreek Hill goes out for the year. Tyreek Hill broke his leg off and then his tight end, I don't even know, his tight end, he dropped his tight end, Kyle Pitts. Bye-bye. We'll look at Week 5, but Jed in a lot of trouble, and it all started with Gary, who I don't know where Gary, dude. He's got running backs, he's got wide receivers. Is Stephon Diggs here? I don't know. Is Chuba Hubbard hurt? Is Bo Nix a number 1 QB? Okay, and is Sam Laporta going to return to where he was? I don't know. Jefferson did deliver for him this week, 17 points. Bo Nix, I said it. This dude might be a top 5er. And then he had the kicker. He had the kicker coming out for him. And, boy, that was it for that matchup. Just to mention, 1, 2, 3, 4 Steelers on Jed's team. We're moving on to Kareem getting the win over Austin, missing Gibbs. Austin hurting bad. But let's talk about the team who moves to 2-2, the defending champ, baby. He's got a big-time matchup this week. He has some dogs, okay? He's got some horses in the stable. Let's talk about Devon Achane and Omarion Hampton, who's all of a sudden looking like a top-tier grade A running back. This boy has horses, but outside of that, I don't know. Tyler Warren a horse too, okay, before I go. And Romeo Doubs just absolutely delivered 3 touchdowns, almost 27 points. Unbelievable performance for Kareem to pull out the victory this week. But, boy, did it come at a close margin call with Marvin Harrison. He was basically droppable before that second half. I'd keep my eye on him, boys. And he's out Dobbs this week. I'd also keep my eye on CeeDee Lamb, obviously injured, but then Kyler Murray, he might be droppable. Austin's team really ouch. Not only did he get the loss, he had performances out of Justin Fields, Bucky Irving, and Javonte Williams, and now Bucky Irving's out. And what the heck is going on with Javonte Williams? Because we got Jadon Blue making tweets. Look out. Is he down both of those? And he might as well be down Jamar Chase because, with the Burrow's out. And Dobbins will be losing his job soon. We'll talk about it. And starting Darnell Mooney is just disgusting. He needs Jaden Daniels and McLaurin back in a bad way, boys. We're moving on. The next matchup was Derek and Cole, the dead man walking, who just had the biggest Cole leaf clover just grow right up in his front yard. He walked outside and found it, and his name was Kenneth Gainwell, okay? Putting up a 28-burger, getting a start on the final minutes right before the game started Sunday morning at 9 a.m. He almost forgot to start him. And finally, Drake London reminds us all he's still playing football. And Puka, just the unbelievable Puka. We're going to talk about Ty giving away Puka just for chump change. It's unbelievable. But the upset of the week really was Cole. And you thought, boy, is this guy a dead man walking? I don't know, dude. We do every other week reviews for the projected playoff teams. So we'll get there next week. But huge performance out of Puka London, and Gainwell carried that boy this week into a miracle victory over arguably, he's going to get a bye. And he's got James Cook and Jonathan Taylor, 2 biggest horses in the league right now, arguably. But he did lose. We got to talk about Malik Neighbors. He lost his number 1 draft pick, Malik Neighbors, out for the season. And now with Lamar hurt, his number 2 wide receiver, Zay Flowers, you might as well bury that boy and go put some flowers on that grave, too, because he's done-so. Oh, my goodness. Lamar quit. He had the Packers defense give him -5. Absolutely killed him. He did get a nice little boost out of Shakur.
Khalil Shakur, he won't get that 15 points again for the rest of the year. And all of a sudden, is Mahomes looking like a number 1 QB? That could be great long-term for Derek, but he did get the loss this week. Moving on to Nordine, who upset Jarrett. These are 2 future playoff teams, boys. Nordine had some stacked performances out of Dak Prescott, Christian McCaffrey, Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson, all of a sudden, he's a top tier. That boy is a dog out of nowhere. I didn't see it coming. CMC, as long as he can stay healthy, boys, look out tonight. This coming out at halftime. And Dak got to throw the ball every single play. Who cares? Texans and Santos, he got some points out of the defense and kicker, didn't he? And then we move on to Jarrett's team, who got the loss, and the only points he did seem to get was out of the players that I traded him. So everyone who says, I'm scared to trade Zach, well, you shouldn't be that scared. I'd scored Jarrett all his points this week with Jacobs and Odunze. Okay, now he had a terrible start with Joey Sly in that kicker position, giving him -2. That hurts. Trey Tucker, that's a desperation start. He's got him in the regular starting lineup. That's absurd to me. And Lamar Jackson, we'll talk about it, boys, but Jarrett, unfortunately, lost falls to 1-3, and Nordine goes 2-2. Then we move on to Shane and Corey. Corey got a tight victory over yet another low-scoring team. Shane, let's talk about Shane. Not much to talk about. Jordan Love scored, and his defense, the Lions, scored. And he left Dallas Goedert on the bench. Ouch. That hurts. Hurts bad on a squad that is now potentially looking at 0 wins for the entire season. Shane, we've never seen it happen, folks. This is by far, the highest percentage chance that we have. Now, Corey's team is solid. It's another first-round bye team, folks. And Caleb Williams is only getting better. He's on a bye this week, but he had the Vikings defense again, dude. Just deliver a 20-burger. That's unbelievable. And Pickens now with CD out is just a dog. Even an underperforming week out of Smith and Jigba, and Bijan just absolutely. How long will Jordan Mason last? And how long until Lad McConkey is droppable? Yikes, boys. We're moving on. 2 more matchups from week 4. It was Drew getting a close victory over Ty. Now, imagine if Ty still had Puka Nacua. This is the first time I'll say it this year. I'm sure it won't be the last. If Ty had not made that trade, Ty would have won this week. Ty would be 3-1, but he did. He traded Puka and McBride for Derrick Henry, who, a dud week. 6.8 points, and I see nothing but dud weeks in the future for him. That boy is droppable, okay? Wow. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. DK Metcalf finally went off. I think he was part of that trade. Who cares, dude? Now, he does still have Quentin Johnson, who performed and will continue to perform, and he's got Woody Marks, who put up a 25-burger on his bench. Boy got to get his psyche figured out. Mentally, he's unstable right now. Ty is. Now, Drew is talking about mentally unstable. After he heard Benson, no one had a clue about Benson being donezo for the season. Drew, I'm a little concerned. Not to mention, he has not traded in Jigba. Okay, I told the boy to trade in Jigba, and he's as high as he's going to get, and he just doesn't. He refuses to do it. I'm a little concerned. Now, Jake Ferguson, another player that I traded away, popping off. Folks, common theme here. Pay attention. Now, I'm very concerned. Brian Thomas, Jameson Williams, even Tet. Genty, finally, Ashton Genty may save his season, and Josh Allen. Now, we're going to talk about the matchup, but he did trade away a top 5 quarterback. But before we get there, boys, let's move on to the Wizard. Oh, my goodness. He's in your nightmares at night. You're going to sleep, you get nightmares. It's this guy. We are trading on one. And the Zach Legendary, I forget what the word it is, boys, but it's a magic trick. That's what it means. It's magic show. And that's what I did. I saved the season. What will go down is the ultimate trade manipulation of all time. Brownstein's out. Ridley out. Both droppable. And then he tops it off with a 98-94 victory over the same boy. Then he just swindled. I mean, it was unbelievable. Travion Anderson finally showed up with a touchdown. Pittman got a touchdown. And I figured out, boys, it's all about defense and kickers in this league, okay? And yeah, I finally got some defense and kicker points, okay? Hello. Now, sue me, okay? Sue me. Now, we look at Jordan's team. This might be the new dead man walking. I don't know, because if we look at the players that I traded him, Chase Brown, 8.6, 8 points. Pearsall now hurting out, 6 points last week. Stevenson, he's a backup, 4 points last week. This Monangai, 1 point. Shaheed, 7, and Ridley, 4. You might as well drop every single player I've traded you, Jordan. So, I mean, that might be the only way it goes against the theme, boys. Other than Jordan, you might want to trade me. Everyone else seems to get me, but I put the icing on the cake. I put the cherry on top of that ice cream cone, boys, by beating Jordan and saving my season and moving on. And saving my season. And it's going to go down. Remember it, boys. That's the reason I made a video for it. 2 trades. Now let's talk about, before we get into the worst single trade that happened this year, let's talk about week 5, boys. We're moving on. Some fire matchups that's happening tonight. We have a huge matchup. This is the start of the bye weeks, boys. Bye. Depth. depth will come into consideration. Jed drafting defense and kickers shenanigans, absolute shenanigans, is going to start coming into factor here. Cole's depth, this is where you'll find out Cole's a dead man walking. This is where you're going to find out Jordan very well may be a dead man walking come next week. Because it's all about depth, boys. You got to plan by weeks. You got to plan. So a little bit of planning, a little bit of thinking. A little bit more. You might want to think a little bit more. Let's talk about who has not and who has thought. Nordine looks like he has thought about it. Corey not this week. Nordine currently a 21-point favorite. Now, Corey needs to plug in a quarterback. So we're going to assume that's more like a 5-point favorite for Nordine, a projected playoff team. Against Corey, a projected first-round bye. But Corey 4-0. He can afford a loss. He's got some bye weeks, some heavy bye weeks with Bijan on bye and Caleb Williams on bye. Okay, now I'm going to look at Corey's team and say you probably want to start Rachaad White now that Bucky's out. And Corey's got depth at running back all of a sudden. Really, his only real weakness, dude, is tight end and the mad lad McConkey. But he's got a tough squad. This is our third best game of the week. And looking on the other side, Nordine, I'm a little concerned. Is Cam Scadaboo already hurt? And he runs like an absolute bull in a china shop. So it's only a matter of time before he gets hurt anyway. And Mark Andrews is tight end. Yeah, Lamar's out. Have you heard Nordine? You might want to check that dude, but he does have some absolute horses. CMC, Kyrene, Dak, even Olave has been putting up. Moving on, Derek versus Jed this week. Now, Jed putting up the historically worst team I've ever seen in my life in this league this week. He's out several Steelers, his entire bench of Steelers. Then, did he even have any injuries? No, the boy had to pick up about 6 players off. I'm not talking about it. He's a 35-point dog. That's what a full roster team. Pathetic. Derek's going to house him, and house him bad. A player to watch on Derek's side, Zay Flowers. How good is he without Lamar? And Kendre Miller. Okay, look at Kendre Miller. Let's see that workload. Rico Dow might get some work, and keep your eye on Malik Washington, boys. Derek is a swindler on that free agent wire. You boys are getting swindled. Moving on to Shane versus Gary, and this is just another absolute no-win opportunity for Shane. 20-point dog. The only thing he really has going for him is Breece Hall right now. The boy is starting 2 tight ends right now in his starting lineup. Kincaid and Goddard. He said, I got it wrong last week. How do I solve that problem? I just start them both. Okay, well, that ain't the solution. And why do you still have Joe Burrow on your bench, Shane? Get with the program. That worked. Still in progress. Gary, he's gonna just march on to 4-1, dude. This is unbelievable. He's got Kamara, Chuba Hubbard. Chuba Hubbard, keep an eye on. Is he healthy? Justin Jefferson, keep an eye on. He ain't got no quarterback. Sam Laporta, keep an eye on. He's looked terrible. He's probably droppable. Now, going on trending upside, he does have Stephon Diggs, okay? And he could have another player on his bench, but he chooses not to. Gary, huge favorite. Moving on, we got life support Cole here going up against Drew. Old Fortune Drew here. Drew, a 20-point favorite here. And here's the only thing, okay? Cole did get his second absolute trade rape of the year by getting Drake May, a top 5 quarterback, for Daxon Dart. Daxon Jart, who cares what the kid's name is? That boy ain't lasting in this league. Hello, wake up. What are you doing? Cole's gotten a couple lifelines like I've never seen. Just raft supports. He's floating in the middle of the ocean, and you just take a raft, and dude, you got like a shooter gun, and you shoot it like 250 feet out. The boy had no chance until you shot him a Drake May and a Puka and a Trey McBride, and you took Derrick Henry, who everyone talks about. You took Derrick Henry off his team. Everyone talks about these players who win you games. No one talks about the players who lose you games. Derrick Henry's a player who will lose you games for the rest of the year. I'm sorry. I'm done. Cole's got a couple dudes, and now he's got a chance, but he's still a dog. Big-time dog. He's starting awful players like Tony Pollard, Chris Rodriguez Jr., Jawan Jennings, who's not even playing, Josh Downs, and Blake Corum. It's a Puka and a Trey McBride show, boys, and a defense and kicker, because we all know how valuable they are. Now, he does have London on bye this week, and who cares when Rice gets back? He's irrelevant. Drew, on the other hand, this boy building up, and then boom, bam, bam, Benson. Out. That hurts. Drew had been talking about it. He's been telling me all year how good Benson is. How good Benson is. So great, dude. Wait till Ben break. Benson broke. He does have Genty. Brian Thomas Jr., they got wearing drunk goggles so he can... Oh, no, that's Ridley. Brian Thomas Jr. is just catching every single pass that everyone throws at the... They said, you got to work on your hands. If your hands are a problem, that's a problem as a wide receiver. That's what they said to Brian Thomas Jr. And concerning. Keep your eye on him. And Mbuka, been waiting for that trade. He's got Harvey on the bench, though. So plug him in for Trey Benson. Moving on, boys. All right, 3 more matchups here. Let's talk about Jared going up against Tyler here. Tyler's going to make a big bounce back. He's a 15-point favorite going up against Jared, who is depleted. He's down. And Jared absolutely depleted this week. And I think he was probably planning on a loss because he got Josh Jacobs on bye, Odunze on bye. Lamar Jackson decided to put his skirt on. and he's not going to play. So the boys starting Bryce Young at quarterback. That's all you really need to say. Who's actually projected to outscore Baker Mayfield for Tyler. Tyler's line of thinking, I don't know. Sometimes I just don't understand. I'll send him trades and think, I don't know. He thought that with Cole, and I don't know. He's got a lot of very serious investigations that he's doing. So how focused is he? But Derrick Henry's still in the starting lineup. We'll see. This could be a sneaky upset pick here, boys. But keep your eye on Woody Marks this week. Metcalf on bye for Ty, and we're moving on. The second best matchup we have of the week, okay? And it's a fighting for your survival game. It's Austin versus Jordan. 1-3 Austin versus 2-2 Jordan. And we talked about Jordan dying hard and fast. But Austin has Bucky Irving in the starting lineup. Per this graphic, you might need some adjustments, Bull. McLaurin will be playing. Can he move Dobbins up there? Dobbins on life support because it's only a matter of time for his job's done. Jamar Chase is not a number one wide receiver anymore. Kelsey is not engaged in football anymore. He's got a pretty hot girlfriend. I don't know if you heard of her. Javonte Williams. Why is Jade on Blue texting? What's up, dude? On Twitter. Are you serious? Did you just lose your top 2 running backs this week, Austin? You might want to look at me for some trades, boy. And then we got Jordan, who's just got Brown stains everywhere, dude. Brown in the starting lineup. Pearsall, who's not playing in the starting lineup. Ramondre Stevenson in the starting lineup. Shaheed in the starting lineup. Whew. Now, he does have Braylon, unfortunately, on the bench. He's hurt. Ridley, just unstartable. Monangai has to handcuff, and Golden on bye. Jordan needs to make a trade very, very, very desperately. The loser of this game will be a dead man. And finally, boys, it's the matchup of the week. It's your last 2 former champions of this league, the 2 greatest minds, clearly, of this league in the past 2 seasons, and it's not even close because Kareem won last year. I won 2 years ago, and I have clearly manipulated this league, and what I did, Zach's legendary, whatever it is proof enough that to this point of the season, I'm the greatest mind. So it's a battle of the greatest minds this week. 2-2 me and 2-2 Kareem. And it's a 5-point line. I'm a dog. But I don't like those ESPN lines. Boy, we're going to keep our eye on Travion Henderson. I think that boy, his workload might increase this week. And we'll see. Barkley's got to put up some stuff for me on my bench. Demarcus. You thought Percocet was good for your pains? Your injury pains, your bye week pains? Try yourself a Demarcus, okay? Go try one of them and see how you feel. Because that boy going to put up some points this week. Watch yourselves. The Insto starter out of nowhere. And speaking of like Insto starter, Mason Taylor, look out for that tight end this week. And also I have Isaiah Davis, who's now the number 2 in the Jets. And they don't ever give Breece Hall a large workload. He don't get more than 63% of the touches ever. That makes 37% touches Isaiah Davis, Insta starter. Breece Hall, a very fragile, soft little boy anyway, dude. So it's only a matter of time before he's hurt. And Isaiah Davis is a starter. Mason Taylor will be a top 5 tight end. Moving on, and then we look at Kareem's got dogs, though. Kareem's got absolute horses, dude. A-Chain, Hampton. Actually, that might be it, because Dobbs is on the bench. He's got Waller on the bench. Ooh, he is starting Ayo Manor. I like that. I tell you what I don't like, though. Nick Chubb. I don't like Marvin Harrison again. You think he's going to do that again? That boy he lost. He's a scared puppy. Go look at Marvin Harrison's routes run, boys. You won't find one the entire year that goes across the middle. No, you will find one. It's the one he juggled last week because he got biscuit fingers. He was scared fingers, and they got intercepted, and they'll never throw him another pass down the middle again. You think defenses are figuring out that? They know that, boys. This is week 5 of the NFL season. Adams County Champion League. I'm out of breath, boys. Let's get it on.